everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hallie here. So this is going to be a kind of full body stretch and yoga class today. Attainable for all levels, from beginners to advanced. Those of you who are more advanced, you might find it a little bit slower, but it is a wonderful opportunity to kind of check in with your body. So couple kind of housekeeping things before we begin. My setup right now is that I'm on a hardwood floor and then I have a yoga mat on top of that hardwood floor. I don't have any padding underneath. So sometimes when we're on our knees or on our wrists, it can be a lot of pressure on our joints. I have these little handy dandy memory foam knee pads that are wonderful to use to support under your knees and under your wrists. So I will be using those sometimes during class. I also have a blanket here. That's also a wonderful idea under your knees. But I definitely recommend, depending on your setup, to grab something, even if it's just like a t-shirt. A t-shirt is better than nothing. Adding just a tiny bit of padding. We don't want you to feel any unnecessary pressure or pain or kind of use on these joints. Other than that, I have a pillow here. We will be doing a Shavasana. This is a traditional yoga class, which is the meditative portion at the end. It's just a few moments. However, a pillow can be wonderful in that Shavasana in order to kind of help you just easily get into that meditative state, creating kind of a bed of things around you, those physical comforts. You can also use a pillow to support under your hips, under your knees. It's a really, really, really good tool. So I have this pillow here. I have blocks here, all right? Blocks are one of my favorite yoga props. I used to actually hate using props, and then I developed my practice and realized they are a really quite wonderful tool, not only to help you get into poses a little bit better, but to also help with your posture, help maintain those poses. So there's lots of stuff that you can use instead of blocks if you don't have blocks at home. Paint cans, soup cans, toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls, tons and tons and tons of options. Again, they're a wonderful tool to bring the floor up to you, support you. However, again, not needed for this class. You need nothing for this class. Even if you don't have a yoga mat, you will be perfectly fine. Just an option. Everything that I do with a block, I will obviously show without the block as well. Same goes for all of the other props. Lastly, I have a strap here. Now, a strap is a wonderful tool, especially if you're very, very tight. Tighten the shoulders, tighten the pecs, tighten your hamstrings. It just allows you to more easily get into some poses. So I will demonstrate how to use a strap a few times during class. However, again, not necessary. You don't need it at all. What can substitute for a strap? A tie, a belt, an old phone cord. There's a lot of things that can be used instead of a yoga strap. All right, wonderful. And then beyond that, just to let you guys know, I am pregnant, so I do have to modify just a few things. Yoga is wonderful in that you don't have to modify a lot of stuff. It is mostly safe for pregnancy. However, I will tell you when I'm modifying and what I'm doing is different than the traditional sense of the pose. And then the other thing I won't do is I won't lie flat on my back anymore. I use my pillow and my blocks to create a little bit of an angle situation so that I'm not flat on my back. But we'll get to that when we get to that. All right, let's start in a comfortable seated position, resting your hands on your knees, or maybe bringing your hands to heart center, closing your eyes, and just taking some nice, even inhales and exhales. In through the nose, and out through the nose. Taking just these first few moments to separate this space and this time from the rest of your day. If you feel that you have a lot of built up emotions, say you're stressed or angry or worried, you can always take this opportunity to do some clearing breaths. And you can continue that throughout the practice as well, in through the nose and out through the mouth, helping to release some of those emotions. Now I am trained in vinyasa and restorative yoga. Vinyasa is a type of flow yoga where you're connecting breath with movement. So, and a lot of times during this practice, we'll be connecting breath with movement, but it'll always be in through the nose and out through the nose. And that's really to build heat inside your body. However, to release actual physical heat and to release emotional heat as well, always in through the nose and then out through the mouth. And that's an option that you can choose based on what's going on with you today. And as we're seated here, just nice, even inhales and exhales, let's do just a little bit of a body check. So I don't care how you're seated from your waist down. You can be seated cross-legged, knees up, legs out straight, whatever is the most comfortable for you. But let's check in from the waist up, concentrating on our posture. Posture is very, very, very important. So first, we're just going to kind of roll out our neck a little bit, loosening, just going from one side to the next. Half rolls with your neck. You only want to come up halfway so that you're like left on my left side right now. So my left ear is just about 4 inches from that left shoulder. That's as high as you want to go. We don't want to go up and back. We don't want to put unnecessary pressure on our neck. Just nice and easy rolling to each side. If there's a spot that feels really good to stop and pause in, feel free to stop and pause. Letting that neck open up. And when you feel your neck is nice and loose, bringing that head back to center. And then let's do kind of the same thing with our shoulders. Just some shoulder rolls forward and back. Maybe you actually want to shake out your arms, you can. Noticing where your shoulders are. If your shoulders are tucked up near your ears, try to drop those shoulders down, creating some space in this neck area. And then squeezing those shoulder blades together. So we're creating this nice line here in our backs. Working, starting with those shoulder blades in our upper back area, pulling those shoulders in line. So you will feel as though you're like pushing up through your chest just a little bit. You shouldn't be over exaggerating here. It's just a little bit of a squeeze through those shoulder blades. And then lastly, core up and in, elongating through that lower and mid back, nice and strong in that core. And I would love for you to continue the entire practice, holding that core up and in, protecting that lower and mid back, but also working at that core all throughout the entire practice. It is hard to do, especially if you are new to yoga. However, just every once in a while, check in and say, my core, is that engaged? And then engage the core. It does take a lot of practice to be able to breathe at the same time as you're sucking up and in, using those core muscles. So it may be hard for you in the beginning, but just go easy on yourself. Understand that it's just muscle memory. Over time, we're developing those muscles, making them stronger in order to work separately than your diaphragm and your lungs. And then here, let's take 3 clearing breaths together with this nice, perfect back posture. Nice big inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth. Good, again, inhale, filling up. Exhale, clearing out. One more deep inhale. Big clearing exhale. Wonderful. Let's start with our lower half. We haven't paid any attention to our lower half of our body yet. We're going to start with a down angle. So I want you to bring the soles of your feet together. Now, for me personally, my left hip always pops out of place in a really quite terrible way. hurts very much. And this is part of things that I've learned about my body over the past 15 years of practicing yoga is really some days, some years, things feel different, things work differently, right? So right now, especially since I'm pregnant, my left hip is giving me all sorts of trouble. So I'm using these blocks to support under my knees so that this hip isn't allowed to go as far down as it would pop out. A great tool for this is also a pillow if you don't have blocks, if you have hip issues. Now from here, there's lots of options in this bound angle. You can use your hands to just manually push down on your knees, getting a nice hip flexor, groin, inner thigh stretch. What I've been doing lately, then there's tons of options in this bound angle, but what I've been feeling personally feels really good for me is that nice posture and then starting to hinge forward from my hips, actually gripping my hands on my ankles, kind of using that resistance to bring myself forward. And again, there's so many options in all of these poses to make small adjustments, to make modifications, to make the pose work for you. So just remember that. If one thing doesn't feel quite right, wiggle around a little bit, make an adjustment, and then it might feel a ton different. And then just breathing into this space. If you're hinging forward with me, make sure your shoulders aren't rolling forward and you're not curving through your back. You're keeping that nice posture, engaging that core nice and strong. Wonderful. Slowly come up and then remove these safety blocks. Hip safety blocks, as I like to call them. And let's extend both legs out straight. Inhale your arms up, exhale forward for a seated forward fold. Now, traditionally, your feet would be at about hips width distance apart. You can experiment. You can bring your feet together. You can bring your feet a little bit wider. I'm going to go just a bit wider. It creates a little bit more space up here for baby as I come forward. Now, your hands don't have to meet your feet. If they do, you can flex through your feet and kind of resist back using your arms to pull yourself into this nice deep hamstring stretch. However, if your hands don't meet your feet, you can always just release your hands down next to your legs. Now, this is a great place for a strap if you can't reach your feet. Actually using the strap to go around your feet and then holding and coming forward. And then notice here if you're feeling this in your lower back versus your hamstrings. If you're feeling it in your lower back, come out a little bit. Again, let's revisit that nice straight posture, rolling the shoulders back, engaging the core. Hinge forward from your hips and then start to roll down and see if that makes a difference, transferring it into the backs of your legs, your hamstrings versus your lower back. If it stays in your lower back, it just may mean that your lower back is a lot tighter than your hamstrings, and that's okay. You can stretch out your lower back here. And typically, I'll tell you in all of these poses where you are supposed to feel these poses, these stretches. Now, it's different for everyone. Everyone has different tightness in their body, different injuries in their body. So really, I'm telling you kind of the one or two places that you should likely feel it. However, just depending on you, yourself, your makeup, your injuries, you may feel it in a different spot, which is okay. Don't worry about it. As long as it's not like super, super, super painful or super uncomfortable. If it is, come out of it, skip that pose and meet us in the next one. Or revisit a different pose that we've already done. All right, let's come up, bending your right knee in, left leg stays out straight. Turn your torso towards that extended leg. Again, nice posture here, engaging that core. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, come forward. Forehead to knee pose. We're trying to get our forehead to our knee here. If your hands don't meet your feet, again, same thing, relax them down or maybe use the strap. And maybe your forehead meets your knee, maybe it doesn't. If your forehead can easily meet your knee, try for your chin to your knee. And honestly, mine can. However, with baby, I like to create a little bit of space for her. I don't want to be smushing her all the time. So I can still feel this nice deep hamstring stretch. I don't need to force myself into let's typically called like the fullest expression of a pose. I don't need to fully go into this pose in order to still get the benefits of this pose. And then flexing my feet throughout these poses, what that does is it engages your muscles. So I feel my calf muscle working, I feel my quad working, I feel my hamstrings working. So while we're also stretching, I'm strengthening my muscles at the same time. Good, let's slowly come up. We're gonna revolve this. So we're hopefully gonna hit your lower back now. So your left hand goes to the inside of your left calf. Right arm comes up and over towards your toes. Now here, it's kind of like a little bit of a resistance move. We're gonna use this left arm to help turn your torso and then actively use your core to finish turning your torso, and head tries to look up towards the ceiling. So I'm feeling this in my kind of side body here on the right side, my right lower back, my right hip flexor, my right kind of just side body next to my hip. And if you're a bit more flexible, you can come down onto your forearm here, and this will deepen the stretch. Just breathing into this space. Wonderful. Let's slowly come up and out. We're going to move into a seated figure four. And this is one of my favorite stretches. So all we're going to do is lift this right ankle on top of your left leg. So you are above the knee. Now, your right knee may be high into your chest. That's fine. All I want you to do here is kind of test out your body a little bit, using that right hand and arm to try to relax that right leg down as far as you can go. Now, if you already feel a stretch in your outer hips, stay here. Don't do anything else. If you don't feel anything at all, which I'm in that boat, what we're going to do is bend your left knee, plant your left foot, and then collapse the distance between your left heel and your left hip. All right, so scooching that leg back as far as you can. Now I'm lucky, I've got a wall behind me that's supporting my back right now. If you don't have a wall behind you, hands just go down next to your hips, rolling your shoulders back, nice, good posture. If you do have some sort of support behind you, a couch, a wall, whatever is there, you can kind of use your hands in another way. You can actually do some self-massage here, using that right hand to actually massage out that right hip. So you're going to get 2 for 1, not only the stretch and in the pose, but also some self-massage to help loosen you up even further. I'm flexing through this right foot. Every time you flex through the foot, as I just said, you're engaging those muscles. You're also helping to protect your joints. So I'll be doing that. And then just breathing into this nice deep outer hip stretch. And remember, feel free to get water at any time during this practice, anytime you need it. Good, let's slowly release, and then we're going to do all of that on the other side. So I'm going to turn this way a little bit so that I'm facing you guys. Bending this left knee in. Again, head to knee pose. So we're going to turn our torso towards that right extended leg. Posture nice and tall, engaging that core. Inhale your arms up, exhale forward. Again, trying to get your forehead to your knee. If it meets your knee easily, maybe try for your chin to your knee. Again, maybe using a strap if your hands don't reach your feet, or just relax your hands and arms down next to your leg. Again, feeling this nice stretch Breathing here. And again, you may feel this in your hamstring or you may feel this in your lower back. Just depends on where you are tighter. If you're feeling it more in your lower back and you want to transfer it out, remember coming up, engaging that core, nice posture, starting to hinge forward before curling forward. See if that makes a little bit of a difference for you. Yeah, let's come up. We're going to revolve this. So right hand to the inside of that right calf. Left arm up and over towards those extended toes. And remember, we're kind of using this arm and elbow to rotate that torso up towards the ceiling and then finishing it off with that core work and looking up towards the ceiling. Same thing here, if you're a bit more flexible, maybe your forearm comes all the way down to the inside of your calf. And again, that rotation is really what gets into this side body. You should feel that in your lower back and your hip flexor in this general side body area, just stretching out. Wonderful, let's slowly release up. I'm going to turn back this way because we're going to go into that seated figure four, and I want the support of the wall behind me. So all we're going to do is lift this left ankle on top of your right leg. Remember, the ankle is above the knee on your thigh. And we're going to bend into this right knee, plant that right foot, and then collapse that distance. Getting a little bit harder for me to make some sudden moves in this pregnancy. I have realized that. So bear with me if I'm grunting through a few things. I've got a little bit of extra going on right now. So again, we're flexing through this foot, we're collapsing this distance, getting this nice outer hip stretch. Again, if you don't have a hanging wall or a couch or something behind you, hands next to your hips, rolling those shoulders back. If you do have something to support behind you, you can do that extra, that self-massage here, which is wonderful. Remember, flex through that foot, protect that joint, also just engaging your muscles. Good. Let's slowly release. And then we're going to move into a tabletop position. So shoulders over elbows, over wrists, hips right over your knees. So this is one of those places where I would encourage you to get something to pad under your knees, a blanket, a towel, a pillow, knee pads if you have them like I do. And then just kind of making those small adjustments, finding your way into a nice tabletop position. Once here, let's start on some cat-cow. So I want you to inhale forward, pushing up through your head and through your butt, dropping the belly down. Exhale, curving up, getting all of your air out, pushing up through your back. And then just moving through these at your own pace and speed. Inhaling forward. Exhale, curving up. Moving as fast or as slow feels good for you. Connecting breath with movement. And this is one of those places where I really encourage you to close your eyes. Personally, for me, I love closing my eyes throughout practice at different points. I just feel like it makes it a more personal practice for me. I'm more able to concentrate on how things feel. I'm not concerned about the lint on my pant legs or whatever other distractions there are around me. I'm not concerned with what I look like. I'm only concerned about how these poses feel in my body. And then let's add in some organic movements here. Swaying your hips side to side, doing hip circles, body circles. You can curl your toes under and sit way back on your heels for some feet stretches. You can flip your hands around for some wrist and forearm stretches. We're here for about 5 more breaths. Just moving, feeling. And if there's a spot that feels good to stop and pause, feel free to stop and pause. Letting that body open up, getting the benefit of that stretch, whatever it looks like for you. And even do what I'm doing, which is sitting all the way back on my heels to get an even deeper stretch through my feet. My feet have been really quite tight lately, I've noticed. So I've been taking every opportunity I can to stretch those feet out. Wonderful. We're going to move into child's pose. So knees go to the edges of your mat. Big toes come together behind you. Sitting back on your heels first, and then walking your hands down forward, placing your head against the mat. Now, if your hips don't reach your heels, don't worry about it. All we want to do is attempt to drop those hips down as far as we can go. This is actually a great place for a pillow under your butt to collapse that distance between the two. But if you have tight hips or you've had knee surgeries, you may not have the range of motion in your knees. Your hips might be too tight in order to drop those hips all the way down. That's totally fine. If you have had knee surgeries and this is too much on your knees to go out wide, you can always go to hips width distance instead. And child's pose is one of the most restful poses in yoga, so I encourage you to use it throughout this practice. If there's something that you don't want to do, if there's something that you don't like, if you need to reset mentally or physically, coming into child pose is a wonderful option. Just take a moment for yourself. Good. Let's move up into a tabletop position. If you have anything under your knees, you can remove them as we are going into our down dog. Toes go under. Start to engage your core, lifting your knees up. Hips come up and back into your down dog. Now in this down dog, bending into one knee, bending into the other, shifting your hips side to side. Just moving a little bit here. So this is another place where my feet are just a bit wider than I typically would. I'm just creating some space for baby. Typically, you would have your feet at hips width distance. But again, experiment. See where it feels good for you today. Each day may be different on your body. Understanding that and making those adjustments so that you do feel comfortable. Let's go through a nice, easy, modified flow. Just to start, nice deep inhale. Exhale, walk your hands back to your feet. Inhale into a flat back, squeezing your shoulders, engaging your core, coming halfway up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up and stand, reaching those arms up overhead. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands walk forward, down dog. All right, that's it. So let's move through that a couple more times. Nice big inhale. Exhale, hands walk back to your feet. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up. Reach those arms up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands walk forward, down dog. Good, you should be getting a nice deep stretch in your hamstrings. And we're just connecting breath with movement here, warming up the body. Nice big inhale. Exhale, hands walk back to your feet. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up and reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands walk forward, down dog. Now we're going to move through 2 more of these. Try closing your eyes through the next 2. See if that works for you. Nice big inhale. Exhale, hands walk back to your feet. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands walk forward, down dog. All right, let's move through our last one of these for the modified flow. Nice big inhale. Exhale, hands walk back to your feet. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands walk forward, down dog. We're going to move through our sun salutation A next. Now, if you want a more restorative practice, stick with that modified flow that we just did. You do not have to follow us into these sun salutation A's. What we just did in that flow was a modified version of the sun salutation A, so you can always stick with that. All right, let's move through this first one nice and slow. Nice big inhale. Exhale, walk, step or jump to the top of your mat. Coming into a flat back, squeezing those shoulders, engaging that core, and then falling forward. Slowly rising all the way up your stand, reaching those arms up overhead, and coming all the way forward. Into that flat back again. And then planting your hands, stepping back into a high plank position. All right, so lots of options here. You can stay in this high plank. You can also put your knees down if you are building strength. If your arms are a little bit weaker and we need to start building some strength, you can always come down onto your knees. Now, from here, we're going to come halfway down into our low plank. Elbows are tucked into your side halfway down. Same thing, with your knees down, halfway down, elbows in. Upward facing dog or cobra, so your hips drop forward, your shoulders go back. The difference between upward facing dog and cobra is I'm in a cobra right now, my legs are on the ground. Upward facing dog, my legs will be lifted off the ground. And then into your down dog. All right, so let's try breath with movement this time. My chaturanga, the chaturanga is the high to low plank. This one I'm going to do with my knees off the ground, and then the next one through, I will do it with my knees on the ground. Nice big inhale. Exhale, walk, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. High plank. Halfway down, elbows in, low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. All right, good. Remember, this time through, I'm going to do that chaturanga with my knees down. Nice big inhale. Exhale, walk, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Plant your hands, high plank. Knees down as an option. Low plank, elbows in. Coming into the cobra, hips forward, shoulders back. Downward facing dog. All right, so pick which sun salutation A you'd like to do, either the modified, the regular, or knees down, the modification. We're going to go through this 2 more times. Nice big inhale. Exhale, walk, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. High through low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we've got 1 more to go. Nice big inhale. Exhale, walk, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. High through low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Wonderful job. Take a nice big inhale. And a clearing exhale here out through the mouth. Good. Let's make our way to the top of your mat. Inhaling to a flat back. Exhale, fall forward. And we're slowly gonna roll up to mountain pose. Just going nice and slow here. Once you're all the way up, rolling those shoulders back, nice and strong. I'm gonna turn to face you guys. So we're feet are hips width distance apart. We're lining up our hips right over our knees, right over our ankles here. Taking a moment to roll those shoulders back, nice and strong. Good core into this mountain pose. Feet should feel nice and powerful and strong here. You can close your eyes if you'd like. We're gonna do just one balance pose today. Actually, let's do two. Why not? Let's inhale those arms up overhead. And then exhale, bring those hands to heart center. We're gonna start with tree, lifting the right leg up. So there's three options for tree. Either kickstand, toes on the ground, heel on your ankle, foot on your calf, or foot on your thigh. Please just do not put your foot on your knee. Now, hands at heart center. If you fall out, you can see that I was just wobbly. Just come right back in. And then maybe your arms come up overhead. Maybe you look up. Maybe you close your eyes. Please don't look at me. I'm wobbling around. So pick something that's not moving to look at. I'm also going to keep my hands at heart center. In pregnancy, your balance typically gets a little bit worse just because you have weight in places you didn't before. So for just my safety, I'm keeping my hands at heart center today. Good. If your arms are up overhead, bring your hands to heart center. Bring your right knee into your chest, hug it up and in, and then release your right foot right in front of your left. So heel, your right heel should be touching your left toes, straight line. And then bring your hands to heart center and close your eyes. Engage your core here. This is harder than it seems. Try to relax your face through these balance poses. If you fall out, just come right back in. Good. Slowly open your eyes and release your hands. Right foot goes back next to your left. If you need to kind of shake out your legs, roll out your legs, feel free to do that. All right, we're going to move to tree on the left side. So again, either picking kickstand, foot on your calf, or foot on your thigh. Now I told you in the beginning of class, my left hip tends to pop out. So for me on this left side, I need to put my foot on my calf. Even though I can bring it to my thigh, I don't want to out of the risk of having an injury, right? So understanding, moving with your body, noticing where one side of your body needs something different than the other side of your body. Totally normal and totally okay. Hands start at heart center, then maybe arms come up. Maybe you look up, maybe you close your eyes. And again, if you fall out of this, just come right back in. Again, I'm bringing my hands to heart center and keeping them there for me today. You can make that decision for yourself, whatever works best for your body. It's really fostering that mind-body connection, knowing that your body may need something different this day, this week, this year than it does at other points. If your arms are up overhead, bring them back to heart center. Left knee hugs into your chest. Hug that left knee up and in. And then release your left foot right in front of your right. So again, straight line, left heel meets your right toes, hands at heart center, and then try to close your eyes. Remember to relax your face. If you fall out, just come right back in. Don't worry. Again, this one's harder than it seems. Try to also engage your core. That should give you a little bit more stability here. Wonderful. Release those arms down. Shake out your legs. And then let's inhale those arms up overhead. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. High through low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Wonderful. Let's come down to tabletop. We are going to lay down on your backs. So however you would like to get there. Now, as I told you in the beginning, I'm not laying fully down on my back, so I'm using these blocks and a pillow to prop me up. If you have blocks at home and want to join me in this situation, feel free to. What I do is I have one block on the back on the medium level and then one block in front of that on the lowest level. And then I pop a pillow on top of it. It's super comfortable. You should try it if you have blocks at home. Otherwise, bring whatever props you want with you for Shavasana, because we'll be going into Shavasana right after this. Once you're laying on your back or close to your back, bring your knees into your chest, rocking side to side or back and forth, just massaging out your hips and lower back against the ground. Now my knees are a little bit wider here than I would typically have, just to make a little space for baby. But feel free to make that adjustment on your own. See how it feels with your knees together, your knees out wider, whatever works for you. And we're going to move into happy baby. So your knees go out super wide towards your armpits, grabbing behind your thighs, your calves, or your feet for happy baby. Now you can either stay where you are right here, or you can rock side to side if that feels good on your body. But really using those hands to pull it down on your feet, getting a nice stretch through your groin, your inner thigh, and your hip flexor. Good. Bring both knees into your chest. And then both knees fall to the right side. Head goes to the left for your spinal twist. Now I'm going into a gentle spinal twist just to protect baby. That's another place where you don't want to go into deep twists in yoga during pregnancy. So I'm just going to curl all the way up on my right side. However, typically you would look over that left shoulder, trying to release your left shoulder down to the ground. And then just start to close your eyes here, prepping your mind and your body for Shavasana that is coming up very shortly. So let's move back through center and go to the other side. Both knees to the left, head and shoulder to the right. Again, I'm going to stay curled up on my left side just to protect the baby here. And again, closing your eyes, relaxing your body. Coming back to center, hugging those knees in one more time. And then moving into a full body stretch, arms up overhead, legs up straight. Nice and long here, maybe pointing and flexing your feet or doing some ankle circles, taking a nice big inhale. And then an exhale, releasing your arms down by your sides for Shavasana. If you didn't bring props with you that you want for Shavasana, get them now. And then just make your way into a comfortable position. Traditionally in yoga for Shavasana, you would be laying on your back, legs splayed open, palms up towards the ceiling. However, feel free to move into whatever position is most comfortable for you today. Once you've found that position, just relax your entire body. Maybe doing a body scan from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. Clenching and releasing each muscle. Once your body is relaxed, start to relax your mind. Attempting to let go of all thoughts and feelings. If you notice a thought start to come into your head, just try to let it slip away. Shutting behind a door, evaporating into the air. Whatever you need to do to just let go. Slowly taking a deep inhale and a big exhale. Slowly starting to move your fingers and your toes. Bending your knees and curling up on one side of your body. Slowly coming all the way up to seated. Resting your hands on your knees or bringing your hands to heart center. Together, let's take one last deep inhale. Big clearing exhale. And with gratitude, namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me. Again, I'm Hallie, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.